what is going to be a tough lane for Yone, and just kind of remove these mid lane mages who have a ton of harass.
Yep.
A bit frustrating to play into. Also, with it being the Yone, you know he's not going to go for a Zia most likely in this situation. So you have a bit of protection against that. Now for the DN Super is probably just going to be support coming in here for life. Obviously, it's going to be a tough lane if you end up going for a melee, but it does provide that threat. And they're going to go.
All right.
With a Camille, technically a flex, but probably going to be that support Camille, I would imagine.
Yeah, and Life is the guy, I mean, we talk about this all the time. He was the guy that played Jarvan support, the guy that really was phenomenal at set support, kept playing it. It was a thing, like it was a spark of this set support thing that was just happening all the time. But he was the guy that started it, and he kept playing it and kept winning with it as well. And the Camille, sort of similar to that flavor. We've already seen Carrier have a phenomenal performance on the Camille support. I believe that was in the Bro Series at EWC. As the Ahri is going to be the lock-in for Faker alongside the Jace for Doran. And wow, this would be one hell of a 1-3-1 composition if they just throw down a Yorick or something like that.
Yeah, a lot of side lane pressure achieved. I think the Ahri makes sense because it has that mobility to disengage from the engage of the DN Supers, to dodge away from some of these tools. The Jace, though, I'm a little bit unsure about here. They end up going for the Cassante, who can kind of contribute in terms of this dive-focused composition of DN Supers, and that is very much what they have prescribed to, is we are going to jump on...
All right, ladies and gentlemen, do you believe in the DN Supers? Maybe 21 games in a row is a bridge too far. All right, I'm not going to lie. The DN Supers fans, pretty loud. When obviously it was an absolute eruption from the T1 fans every single time. And normally it's just a meek like, yeah, hi team. But this, very different story here today. We'll see whether they can use some of that energy to come up with a victory here for the first time in what feels like eons. As
Oh, this
Life.
is scary.
Oh dear. Well, there we go, some value. Not too bad.
Oh, this is terrible for Ona.
Oh, God, yeah. He's going to have to flash immediately. Gets to the wall. Does have Carrier and Pays moving their way up, but Doctarm's here as well. And we are just 3v3ing over a blue buff already.
Yeah, and in the end, DNS actually back away from this one. Life is still hovering around.
But also, it does mean that Doctarm will get to clear this wave. And I think managed to get experience. So it does have an experience advantage. As Life just grabs himself his little shield with the passive.
Yeah.
Wandering his way back as well.
Unfortunately, Life is going to be a bit late to lane. And actually, if you look at Doctarm's XP bar, I don't think he got much experience from that.
Yeah, it actually looks even.
Yeah, so I think also Life being behind in experience is a big thing because you want levels on the Camille so she can all in.
A bit unfortunate.
Yeah, I think it's a hard one to take that fight. The Ashe Seraphine is so threatening. Ziggs is honestly often pretty good in level 1s because your Q is such short cooldown, it can hit multiple targets. But
And you also have a kind of extra button with the short fuse.
Yeah, it's some extra damage there, but I think into Ashe Seraphine, especially since Life's stun was on cooldown, it's such a risky one to take, so they end up backing away, and now Ona's continuing to put the pressure on.
She's just milling about here, as we do have Ona just coming on through, taking it away in his face.
I mean, this is really what Ona should be looking to do in a situation where you have triple prio lanes. You know, that was the concern with this composition for DNS. Can you weather the storm early? And Ona twisting the knife and kind of shutting Pyosik out the game, stopping him from being able to freely gank and keeping an eye on him, allows T1's lanes to play out in this manner. Every single lane you can look on the minimap is pushed up into the other half and putting the harass down.
Yeah, it's working very well. As you can see, Life down below half health. Doctarm, very similar story. As they are going to look for a little bit of a reset here. But Pays is ahead by about a wave already here at almost 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not a great state of affairs here for the DN Supers. It might be light at the end of the tunnel, though.
I mean, with all these matchups, they are matchups where you weather the storm and it just gets way better. So it's just the fact that it's all three of them at the same time is what makes it concerning. Now,
it does mean they all get better at the same time, though.
that is true. recalls coming in, getting some sustain will be good. They also have triple TP, which helps out. We do see here Pyosik crossing over to steal away a camp, and Life pushes in to provide some vision. But notice they don't overstay, they don't go for the red. Put some wards down, so they'll see Ona moving there. But Pyosik is really wary of his opposition and doesn't want to go too aggressive and potentially be punished for it. Now, they do have vision. Remember, Ona has no flash, so maybe if they want to make a play of this.
Yeah, this could be an opportunity here. As we see, Dr. just teleported back to the lane as in they go. Ona is burning down and he's just dead. First blood goes over to Life. And sometimes you'd say, oh, the support stole a kill. That's a terrible thing. I think Camille getting herself a little bit further ahead, it's probably a pretty good thing for this lane.
And notice Ona used Wind Becomes Lightning over the wall to the Crows, not realizing they'd been taken by Pyosik. So his only way out had been cleared already. Pyosik gets the kill there, takes the Raptors.
That he already had vision of. Man, it was pretty premeditated.
Yeah, there was just great setup from DNS. And considering how aggressive Ona had played and the priority that T1 had as an advantage, this is a great play to kind of break the mold a little bit. Now, Ona's going to push in here and try and take these Raptors, but he's down in levels compared to Pyosik. So if the Vi finds him, this could be trouble.
Yeah, Pyosik actually is going to be heading away from him, though. Wrapping around.
Or like ships in the night.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting maneuver as Ona is just going to walk on up and start the red buff. And finds Pyosik, who was lying in wait. Jonas Strong really making sure the jump scare worked out here. As, yeah, Ona, no flash, just no way to get out. He's just dead again. He's just going to dab. As Pyosik needs to hit this Vault Breaker, but he will. And down will go Ona. And he'll take the red buff as well. So, yeah, 0-2-0 for one of Ona's best, most famous champions. As Pei's going to have to flash to get out of the way of Life's hookshot as well. So another killable lane. It might be the day. It might be the day, Orcs.
It's a good start, that's for sure. Getting a pretty solid lead here. And again, this is the point where it's most delicate for DNS, where you're absolutely on the back foot the most. And finding these advantages is massive. So Pyosik has just tracked Ona so well.
And it's kind of crazy.
Allowed being able to punish him.
Yeah, and this spills over to the rest of the map, right? If your jungler falls behind and you have all of these, I guess, pushing lanes, it makes it so much more dangerous.
Yeah.
Because now, wherever Pyosik goes, he's halfway towards level 6. He will be able to get kills. You can see already, Closer has completely closed the gap, no pun intended. You've got Dudu behind 500 gold still, but obviously the Cassante doesn't really care too much. Once that first couple of items, or the first item especially, comes in, he's just not going to feel too scared of this Jace. And all of those things you were talking about in the draft are going to come true.
Yeah, I mean, you think of the state of the game now. Cassante has picked up a ton of armor into this matchup into the Jace. The Yone has the Vamp Scepter for some sustain, and now has the ult to threaten if Faker steps up a bit too close. That also applies to the Cassante. Now you have ult, Jace has to respect that and can't just recklessly harass you without respecting the fact that you can't just kill him. And then the bot lane as well. Ziggs getting more points in his queue and some mana behind it makes a big difference. So that early saw point, honestly, it's not like the lanes of T1 suddenly stop having the ability to get priority, but it's a lot more sustainable now for DNS. And we can see Life once again moving with Pyosik aggressively. Pyosik having the ult available means that it is such a big threat. The ult from Vi combined with the stun from the Camille and the Ignite means if anyone gets caught face-checking, they're just dead.
Yeah. You can see Ona making sure that he does clear out vision as he once again heads towards Pyosik's Raptor camp.
And they're both moving over. Life and Pyosik are running here. Ona has to be really careful. He does get this, and it seems like he will get away, but the timing was tight.
Yeah, Hawkshot did spot them on the Dragon, and so Ona making sure that he knows that he is going to be all right, as Closer is just going to separate his soul momentarily. Doran is going to have to flash, and he does so immediately.
It's a good flash.
Anytime. Yeah, it certainly is.
You were just very dead if you overstayed. The problem is now, though, he's not in a position where he can really walk up to tower. And does Ona want to move over and help him when he's already behind?
I just want to point something out to you, Orcs.
Yep.
DNS currently on perfect game pace.
That is true. It's early days, but I can't dispute it.
Yep. See, sometimes facts, even when they might be a bit silly, it's still true.
They do open most games. In fact, I'd say all games on perfect game pace.
When you do spawn in, both teams are on perfect game pace. That's pretty impressive.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yep. This time around, though, I mean, they're also going to get the grubs, and so we won't even need to debate whether the grubs are part of the perfect game conversation. All that thing.
Yeah, we don't have to have that discussion that I'm sure people still enjoy and not sick of.
All right, Dudu and Doran just facing off. You can see Dudu with a lot of control in this lane, though. As the steel caps feel pretty phenomenal into the Jace. I wonder whether Doran is going to go for the Black Cleaver build. We have seen that one cropping up more and more recently. It's felt a little bit better into more of these tanky matchups.
I also think just makes you a bit bulkier, which I think into this DNS composition goes a long way. It's either you, Pays, or Carrier. I feel like are the main targets generally.
Oh, nice little Q back there as Dudu. Just bringing out the Dusante to bear. Looking pretty good. It's closer. Closer going somewhat aggressive towards Faker here.
In fact, they also got that first dragon. Got the dragon, got the grubs. Really just allows DNS to keep playing these lanes out as they are and be comfortable. Oh, they're looking for a play.
Yep, in they go. Pays in a lot of trouble. The bouncing bomb is going to connect. It's a decent encore there, though. As now Life in a bit of trouble. And down will go Pyoshik, down will go Life. There goes the perfect game and maybe the advantages that DNS had built up for themselves.
A bit of a heavy force there onto Pays. Pays with no flash available. They think he's an easy target to take down. But Dokdam didn't have ult available. They also didn't have the ult from Life, and I just feel like didn't quite have the damage to kill Pays here. A big factor is Pyoshik uses his Q over the wall, so it doesn't have that cooldown immediately available. The ult from Carrier is phenomenal. And again, Dokdam not having that ult to follow up is so much damage lost onto Pays. I still think the fight might look a little bit rough because Ona's there to turn it around afterward. But at least if you had Dokdam's ultimate, Pays would have died. And then you take one of the threats out and can hopefully readjust from there. But T1 very quick to respond in that situation. And not only do you get a decent amount of gold for Pays on this Ashe, but you're also getting Ona back into the game. He's now even with Pyoshik. Well, about 100 gold down, but much closer than he was before.
Yep, and actually has an item advantage as Pyoshik hasn't been back to buy just yet. So feeling very, very nice on the Xin Zhao after a pretty troubling early game. And so there it goes. It was really nice to be able to talk positively about the way DNS were playing out the early game, though. That was really a great moment that I think all of us will cherish for many years to come.
Yeah, it's a good start, but
maybe not years. I hope not years.
I hope we don't need to look back on this as the good days.
When we're talking like, oh, so it's about to be 45 games in a row that they've lost. Do you remember when it was 20 and then they almost managed to win an early game? I hope that conversation isn't necessary, as DNS definitely nowhere near out of it, as this composition is only going to get better as we move towards the mid-game. But they do need to be able to get their ducks in a row and make these skirmishes work. And Pyoshik needs to avoid sort of hard forcing as much as he has been.
So,
okay. Pyoshik is hit by everything and just Vault Breakers out of there. Should be all right. There's now Dokdam moving on over. Is going to be the Grump secured there by Ona, though, as he does get satcheled back. Fair bit of damage here from the Ziggs.
Yeah, good disengage there from Pyoshik. You can see T1 leveraging the power of this Ashe just to set up picks, but unfortunately unable to find the enemy jungler there. But will give them enough space to put pressure on this dragon and equalize in terms of that and get their first neutral objective of the game. You can see Dokdam trying to get some poke down.
Yeah, Minefield is something they're going to have to walk through here, as Ona even gets hit by that bouncing bomb, as Closer is underneath the enemy turret, as Orcs, come on, man. What was it, last time we were casting together, we had 3 in a row?
Yeah, it was pretty excessive.
Yeah, well, Dudu is going all out, much like Orcs went all out on the Chemtech Souls. Doran not going to be too worried about it. Let's see first items coming on in for our mid laners. Some shoes together here for Closer. It's not quite towards his Blade of the Ruined King just yet. Faker does have his Malignance. And I feel like the Dusante is biding his time. I think that this could be a big Dudu game.
Potentially. We did just now get the level 6 from Life. He was really behind in XP because he was just letting Dokdam solo lane for a good amount of time. has finally soaked up enough to get level 6, and that ultimate being available is a big tool for setting up plays. We're seeing FaZe actually going for the Kraken Slayer on Ashe. We've seen pretty much everyone moving over to the Hex Optics Phantom Dancer.
Yep.
Has been the build we've seen be very popular, so interesting he's gone towards the Kraken Slayer instead in this situation. The sort of older build that we used to have.
Yeah, I wonder what sort of forced his hand on that front, whether it's something that has been cropping up in solo queue back again. But it does feel like the Hex Optics build is pretty powerful. As Carrier Nona moving up towards his top side. Charm connects onto Life, who is just dead. Ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing he can do about that one. Great pick here from T1. We're really coming alive here in the mid game, as Closer also in a little bit of trouble as well. Rebinds the soul as he ults away to relative safety. That was a very cute arrow, as FaZe was guessing where that disengage was going to land. At least we do have Doctarm able to clear out the minion wave, so this top outer turret will stay alive for now.
Seeing the pressure just mounting up here, and Faker with a great pick, landing this charm, and Life feeling the pain of being a level 6 Camille when there's a level 11 Ahri who just does not need to do much work to explode you in this situation. We've seen Camille's sometimes really snowball heavily and in the support role, and that helps them a lot. But when you're level 6 and there's a level 12 Jace in the game, it doesn't feel so good. It definitely feels like a scenario where you're going to jump in and you're just going to get obliterated so quickly.
You need to make sure that that ultimate is high value.
Yeah, and you're kind of hoping that your team explodes your target before they explode you. It has allowed them to put a ton of XP on a Doctarm who's now level 11, but Life does feel a bit like he's made of paper.
Yeah. Well, flanking teleport to come through from Doran here, as we also have the Cassante making his way in. Dudu right into that front line, as that is going to be the secure on the Rift Herald. Ona gets that Crescent Guard out, as now Doctarm's in trouble. Doran just dives on top of him, Life dead once again, as Doctarm uses the Mega Cone in order to get himself to relative safety, but Faker is able to get over the wall and knock him down. The Dusante trying to cut up FaZe, but he gets knocked up and taken out as Faker grabs the double. Now on a killing spree here in this happy birthday game for Faker. And Closer doing the best that he can, as the flash still gets him hit by the arrow, and the charm is going to come on in. Faker might be able to get another one, as another Fate Sealed has to be used defensively, as Closer does get himself out at least. But Doran now going to deal with this outer turret, and wow, from a really nice looking early game to absolute obliteration from about 10 minutes onwards. T1 in full control. Owner just going to flash on top of Pioshik here. This one feels personal.
Yeah, after what happened in the early game, I think it very much is. And T1, super decisive with how they approach that team fight. For DNS's composition, they want to be the ones leading the charge when it comes to engaging. Instead, it's T1 who set up this great flank. Doctarm finds it really hard to position here, tries to satchel away from the Ashe, ends up in the face of the Jace, and then uses the Mega Cone, and Faker with a reset just instantly jumps over and picks up a free kill there. Dudu unfortunately failing his flash over the wall as well. It just felt like this was T1 leading the charge, and DNS, they need to be the ones setting up these engages, so definitely not how they want to play out fights. But with this deficit now, I feel like their win cons might just be out the window.
Yeah, they are few and far between by the looks of things.
Okay, so I was talking a little bit about the level 6 Camille and the concerns.
Yeah.
Still a level 6 Camille.
Uh-huh.
And everyone else on T1 has not only leveled up, but bought items since then. Also, notice Life nearly had the Sundered Sky done before last fight. Still nearly has the Sundered Sky done.
Nearly got it done.
At this point, Life is kind of just a free reset for Faker.
That's what it is looking like. Maybe part of the strategy is going to be let Life go in and die, see whether you can kill a target, and then do your very best to disengage immediately afterwards, so that then he cannot be a liability, allowing Faker to make a few extra plays. As Dudu is almost dead, as Faker's just going to flash on him, Pathmaker. There's the all-out as well, as Dudu looking for the angle, and there it is, finds the Q, solo bowler onto Faker, and gets the shutdown as well.
Faker chunks out Dudu, thinks I have a kill opportunity if I ult, but the minions blocking his skill shots, not allowing him to land the charm, sets up Dudu to turn the play around and get a pretty sizable shutdown on the Cassante.
Honestly, the Dusante never fails to impress. Even if they are just losing every single game, he has found his moments. And could be a big deal. Could also mean not a whole lot. We still have a 3.5k gold advantage, and T1's composition feels pretty evergreen, even if it doesn't necessarily have a huge front line. Ona has a lot of support to make things work, as we're going to have a look at this one from Dudu's perspective.
Yeah, so I think a big factor was the minions blocking skill shots from coming through. And then just the...
아리 잡았어, 아리 높을.
Oh, 800 gold, not bad.
Yeah.
아, 좋았다. 아, 손꼬였네.
Faker not too happy about that one. Yeah, he said his combo messed up, but also I think Dudu played that pretty exceptionally well.
Yeah, gotta respect the ult from the Cassante. That extra healing makes it just deceptively durable. Even when he looks low HP, he can get a lot of health back. Doesn't drastically change the shape of the game, but influxes of gold like that can really help out.
Not to mention Dudu is going to be much tankier. And much more scary in the rest of these fights. It might mean, you know, the difference between Pays living or dying if the Cassante gets into that backline. So, could be important. Could also not mean too much at all, as T1 did manage to grab the first Chemtech Dragon. The next one is going to be up in 3 minutes' time. Shadow Flame done for Faker, as he does complete item number 2. And Closer not very close to that second item. This Ahri is still very, very strong. Phantom Dancer done for Pays at the same time as he throws out an arrow in celebration. Sort of like fireworks, ladies and gentlemen. But it doesn't really do a whole lot of everything, as in goes Life, finally presses that ulti button. Pyosik tries his hand at pressing R, but he will just be escorted to the death chamber. Pathmaker from Dudu, but he gets charmed up, and Closer trying to escape. Fake is going to allow him to also via the death chamber, and they will just execute 4 people in a row.
The turnaround potential from T1 in this situation. The target goes in, they kill him, they move forward, the Ahri resets, so powerful. The Encore as well from the Seraphine, the ult funneling in. I was concerned about the Seraphine into this dive threat, but when you're this far ahead, it's very effective. And you see they jump on a Doran, the ult from the Ziggs does seemingly no damage.
Yeah.
And Doran, barely under half HP, they can turn the play around, move forward, and just clean everyone up. Dokdam, miles away from the fight, very safe, but just unable really to contribute much other than that ultimate he threw down. Now, Pyosik's trying to get in the pit for a steal.
Yeah, he's done this before, and T1 certainly remember, but they are making sure they're keeping the lights off, as there is the poop over. That was very cute from Doran to make sure that they could line that one up with the smite, make sure that Pyosik was unable to get in. And T1 will take a 21-minute Baron. That is a very young Baron.
You know, we've seen a lot of champions who are really good at locking down junglers and stopping them from smite stealing. You have like your Cassantes, your Mordekaisers, who just make it so difficult. This is the first time we've seen like a Jace flash little boot back be the thing, but it just shows the patience and the comms from T1 saying, hey, we need to get Pyosik out. Do not let this be a steal. We're far enough ahead that realistically, we never have to 50-50 these. And Doran jumps out, knocks the Vi, and that's the timing for the smite. Just really well coordinated from T1 in this situation to give 0 outs for DNS.
Yeah, now it's 7.2 thousand gold. Man, it feels like a million years ago that we were talking about DNS and how well they were doing at the earlier stages. 50 seconds until Soul Point is available here for T1. Soul Point not feeling like it's all that valuable. But if they do get a Chemtech Soul, and I know I like to tease you for causing all of these Chemtech Souls, but pretty high value for T1, not gonna lie. Even Faker has like healing in his kit, but it's mainly for Keria, who will be able to heal them up very, very well. Ona goes in, gets the Crescent Guard, goes down to about 50%, and then is an absolute raid boss. Certainly going to be a scary thing. Charm connecting onto Dudu here.
They're just losing towers here.
Yeah.
We have the Yone TPing back, not on a flank angle, just there to potentially engage from the front.
Moral support is what it felt like.
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. I am here to help.
Dragon up in 5 seconds should be a pretty easy pickup for T1, and it's a 3,000 Baron power play coming through, so pretty high value there.
Yeah, they've just kind of taken everything that they've wanted to take, and there hasn't been too much of a response. It's now Pyosik. He has been charmed as he makes his way in, but that is still going to be the fate sealed of the GOAT in the mid lane. Closer going to be able to lock that one down. Life will die as tribute. Doran finds it with a shock blast. Pretty cute. So a 1-for-1 trade, but probably still worth it here for DNS, as Faker worth a little bit more than Life right now, the 1-in-5 Camille. There's a nice satchel there to make sure that Ona does get himself out as the Encore flies on through. Doesn't exactly find the joy onto Dr. Armors. Yeah, Ona was really forcing that one, but it is actually going to work out. Megacone gets closer to safety, and T1 will just walk past DNS and take down this inhibitor turret. With Dr. Arm dead, that is so much of the wave clear missing, and they should just be able to do whatever they want.
Yeah, DNS find a good pick on a Faker, but T1 really make them pay for it and find multiple kills in the aftermath. And now DNS with the base kind of in shambles, just trying to clear out the waves. 0 deaths.
Yeah.
For this Ashe, for this Seraphine, and for this Jace. These are the 3 champions that I felt like this composition wanted to target the most, and they've yet to kill any of them, even one time. They do find Faker here. The ult to make yourself untargetable when the charm comes in was really good, but this Ashe arrow is great. Sets up the follow-up from Keria. Blight dies here to the Shock Blast. And then Dr. Armor is just very overextended. Gets hit here by the Wind Becomes Lightning from Ona. Ona flashes, which actually cuts the Encore short, but just chases down the Ziggs.
Yeah, almost was in extension range here, as Life may be dead one more time. By maybe, I mean he was definitely dead, but I wanted to give him a bit of benefit of the doubt this time around. It's not really his fault, it's just kind of what it's like to be a Camille from behind. As Ona going in, there is still a turret there towards that top side. Is now Faker looking for the angle, will help Ona grab that kill onto the Cassante. Is now Crescent Guard coming on through. Ona is so annoyed by how this early game went. It's what it looks like here as another Shock Blast will put down Pyosik this time. They weren't able to get in front of Closer though, so the Fate Sealed gets him back to the fountain, but Ona is still getting over there. And they do manage to at least get something done. That Mega Inferno Bomb just hitting absolutely nothing at all. As Wind Becomes Lightning, Ona becomes dead, but so does the Nexus. And T1 will be able to clobber them in the end. 25 minutes on the clock. And they'll get some celebratory kills before they take down this Nexus. First one since Faker turned 30 and he picks up the W.
Absolute decimation. Clean game.